Shish kebabs at home. That's what we're gonna do today. Shish kebabs are often considered kind of fancy and what you get at a restaurant, but you're going to be surprised at how easy it is and how amazing they taste making them at home. Hi, I'm Carrie with eatingonadime.com, and we're on a mission to help families eat well on a budget, and this recipe does just that. Forget spending an arm and a leg at a restaurant when you can make these at home. We're going to start by making a marinade, but first I want to remind you that you can get the full recipe, including nutritional information. I have that linked in the description below, but also you can grab it just by going to eatingonadime.com, using the search button and just typing in shish kebab. Now, if you love kebabs, I also highly recommend you actually type in the word kebab and come up with, we have Greek kebabs and chicken kebabs and vegetable kebabs. We love kebabs around here because they are amazing during the summertime that you can just quickly throw on the grill and have a mess-free dinner. For the marinade, you're going to need a medium-sized bowl, and then we're going to start off with a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce, and a 1/4 cup of olive oil, or any kind of oil you'd like. And then we need 1 whole lemon freshly squeezed. I love this. I have it linked in my Amazon storefront, but it is my favorite when squeezing because it gets so much lemon or lime juice right out of there. It just gets so much more, and it keeps the seeds in there so that way they don't go into our marinade. It's worth the small investment. We're just gonna get all the juice out, and then we gotta add in some seasonings. It's a very simple marinade. We're going to use an Italian seasoning blend. Again, I love my seasoning jars. I have them linked in my storefront too. We have that link below in the description. But we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and garlic powder, another 1/2 teaspoon. We're just going to whisk this together, and this is going to be our amazing marinade for our steak and our veggies. You're going to want about 1.5 pounds of beef sirloin, but honestly, we're using sirloin today, but you can really use any kind of cut of meat that you want. I've even done kebabs with like a round steak, which is cheaper. It's not going to be as tender, but it'll still be delicious. Now we're going to cut these into 1-inch pieces approximately. They don't have to be exact, but you do want them close to the same size so that way they'll cook evenly. So I just start on the end. I'm going to use my sharp knife that we have linked in the Amazon storefront for you. And we're just going to cut it down about 1 inch thick. And then we're just going to turn it and cut each of these into smaller pieces. Again, don't stress about it being perfect. And when you have gristle like this, you can cut that out as well. I just kind of include that in my pieces. I'm gonna get rid of that. And these are just a little bit smaller, but again, that's okay. They're just gonna be a little bit more done than the other ones. We're just gonna add this to that mixture so we can get this beef marinating. Now I just like to get my hands in there and kind of mix it around. I want everything coated in this, and you can actually, instead of using a bowl, you could use a freezer, like a gallon-sized bag as well. Now we're gonna add our veggies. We're going to do a yellow pepper, a red pepper, red, and a red, also purple, onion. And we're going to cut each of these into 1-inch pieces as well. These are what we chose to do today, but you can choose any kind of veggies that you want that will hold up well when grilling. Since steak is going to take just a little bit longer, you want a nice sturdy vegetable that isn't going to fall apart, which is why we love the bell peppers. I think I'm gonna leave these. I was gonna cut them sideways, but decided I wanted them a little bit bigger. Then I'm just gonna put these right into the bowl with the steak. Now, if you're watching this and you're panicking because we're mixing raw steak with vegetables, completely okay. Now we're marinating them all because if you don't marinate your vegetables, guess what? They're not gonna have any of the yummy seasonings, and that's boring. Who just wants veggies without seasonings? But it's also good because we're gonna be grilling them all at the same time. So remember, raw vegetables and meat can go together as long as they're all getting cooked at a high temperature, and they are, so we're good. Whew. Now the only thing that you want to make sure you don't do is reuse this marinade. So once we throw these onto the grill, you got to toss that marinade. You can't like baste it with it because it's been soaking in with the raw meat. If you want some of the marinade for basting it, pour it out before you add all your meat to it. And we're going to do the same thing for our bell peppers. If you cut along the edges like this and kind of just go with the curve, it helps you not have seeds everywhere. So see how I just went along with that curve. Set that aside so you only have a few seeds. You can take your knife and just kind of run it through there to get that outside, all the white parts out. The name just completely skipped my brain. Then we want to cut these into 1-inch pieces and toss them in the marinade as well. And it's kind of nice because the center of these kind of help you have a guide on how you want to cut these. So the bigger ones I'll usually do in thirds, and the smaller ones I'll just cut them in half. So this one I'm going to cut this in half, and this one I think I'm going to keep it a half. Since we're cooking steak, the veggies do great because when they're bigger, because they're not going to cook as long as the steak, and we don't want them to be a complete mush. Now we're just going to mix this all together to get that marinade on those veggies as well. I also kind of like to put the steak in first because I want extra seasonings on the steak, and you don't need as much into the veggies. Mix it around. Okay, our kebabs are ready to kebab. They have been marinating. So a couple things I want to talk about before we head to the grill. First, we've got to actually kebab them. So we're going to put them on some skewers. You can do wooden skewers, which are nice because they're just throw away, or you can do metal skewers. I have these linked in our grilling section on my Amazon storefront. And then you can buy these very inexpensive. They're like 100 for like 10 or 20 bucks. They're so cheap. I don't even know. They're too cheap to even mention. But either one will work great for this recipe. And I also love these. I'm obsessed with these. They are basically grilling pans. The red is for the raw meat, black is for cooked meat. And so that way you keep your stuff separated. You don't have to run inside and wash a pan. My favorite thing is that they're very thin and lightweight, so they don't take up a lot of room. And they'll go in the dishwasher, so we don't have to do any washing of the dishes. I'm going to use the wooden skewers today, and it's time to skewer. That's the easiest part. I'm going to start with a vegetable on the end. My sister says she likes to start with the steak on the end because it won't fall off. I don't really have a lot of problems with it falling off. Just make sure you have enough room on the ends because we usually have to use tongs on the grill to turn them, and you want to be able to grab it, and that way it won't fall off. So give it about 1 inch or 2 on the ends. And what we like to do, we're just going to do a steak, 2 pieces of vegetables, another steak, and some veggies. And we're going to keep doing this until we get it all the way full. We've preheated our grill. You want it nice and hot. If you have a temperature gauge, you want it at least 400 degrees, but you just want it hot when you place these on. I like to place these across the grain, not the grill, not the grain. So that way it does better. and leave those pretty marks. We're just gonna bring, I love my digital meat thermometer. We have that linked in the store shop too as well. Hold on, I had it on hold. There we go. And that's a great way just to test the middle of the steak to make sure it's done to what you like your meat to be cooked to, whether it's medium rare, or medium or well done. They're ready to come off. Now, if you're unsure on what temperature is medium rare, well done, we have all that information in our recipe as well for you, so that way it makes it even easier for you. Look how delicious they look. Now we're ready to serve. I've got to dig into this because I'm starving and it smells so good. Now you can just take a fork and slide it right off of these, which is great if you have kids because you can just serve them like this and take them off. And it's great because your steak is already cut. But I do have a knife in case some of the pieces are a little too big. Now how to serve it, you can serve it with baked potatoes. You can serve it on a bed of rice. You have lots of delicious options. That would be really easy to do. I think we're gonna probably serve it with some rice, but I have to dig in. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the pepper, and a little bit of steak. Let's go. So good. The steak is just perfectly cooked, and look at how juicy it is. It's so good, friends. Dare I say it, these are better than the restaurants. They're so good, and you're gonna wanna put this on your weekly rotation. Now, go to the full recipe. We have that linked below because we also tell you how you can make this indoors. So if you don't have a grill, no problem. We're gonna help you out with that. If it's too cold or too hot, no problem. You can make these indoors. The marinade is just unbelievable and it tastes so good. You would be shocked how flavorful it is because the marinade is so simple. So make sure you like and subscribe. I don't want you to miss any more of our family-friendly recipes because you're missing out if you're not trying our recipes. And head to the link in the description so you can grab today's recipe. Shish kebabs are amazing and you're gonna wanna make these tonight. Have a great day, friend. Thanks so much for joining me and I will see you next time in my kitchen.